Welcome everybody. Today's video finds us over here in Delhi, India. And we're going to take a look at something that was built in 1199 to about 1220 or so. We're going to take a look at Qutub Minar. I'm not sure how to say it exactly. Anyway, this used to be called like Lal Kot or something like that. And this is an ancient part of the city. This predates Delhi, predates all of this in this area. This used to be a kingdom over here. And we're going to take a look at the largest minaret in the world, a huge, humongous, massive little tower, and some old mosques and stuff like that. So let's see what we see here. So this is where you come and you get your tickets. So it's 600 rupees for a foreigner, and then it's like 50 rupees or something like that for Indian nationals. And then we'll go up into the park here. Now this is a little bit of a walk from the metro station, the Qutub Minar metro. It's about 1.5 kilometers or so, and you can take tuk-tuks to get up here. And this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this is the second one I've seen in the city. The Red Fort is also a World Heritage Site. And over here, these are the security gates. So there's a cloakroom where you can drop your stuff off. I'm not sure what they'll restrict us for. I know you can't bring in tripods. So when we first come in, we have a nice little mosque here and in the garden, but it's all locked up for some reason. Looks kind of nice back in there. Now this all predates Delhi. This is actually what they say is the first city among the 7 legendary cities of Delhi. And this was started construction in 1199, and then there was additions over the centuries onto this complex. But the highlight of it is that tower right there, and that's where we'll eventually make our way to. Now all around this area is like a historical park. It's kind of to the south of here, I guess. And there's all kinds of ruins out amongst the trees that are in various states of collapse. There's not any that I saw coming through there that were in very good condition anyway. So we got these right here, and we got a ruin over this way. And this tower right here is called the Alai Minar. And this was started construction in 1296 by one of the sultans, Alauddin Khilji or something like that. Anyway, he planned on building this double the size of that minaret at Qutub Minar. But he got to the first story right here, and that's when he died, and none of his successors wanted to keep building it. But it's kind of interesting. You see, they just used like some rubble basically. So they used rubble, and then they put their concrete in between it, in between the rocks. It's not a finished look at all. But he planned on making it massive. It would have been kind of cool if he would have been able to finish it. Yeah, kind of an interesting look. You can see the styling of it would have had. Would have had all these little indentations up there. And then it just basically a cave at the second story. Looks like a big massive well here. Let's take a look, see if we can see inside. I have the iron cover. Now the water would have been just absolutely crucial for clean drinking water. In the old days, a lot of people died of cholera and everything else. So clean water was just absolutely vital. If you got sick, you couldn't run to the hospital and get a little bit of medicine. This is pretty cool. This is a wall with an arch. It had a double arch here, and it would have had Arabic writing, and it would have kept on going down this way. And this was been the extension by one of the sultans, Iltutmish. And you can see that's all the Arabic script right there. So this would have been verses of the Quran, and it would have went up. And you can see they had the rubble on the inside, and then they put these finished stones on the outer part. Oh, this is quite beautiful. Oh, and it goes over that way also. Check out this carved sandstone here that's on this arch. So this is the Arabic script right here, and it goes from right to left. It's not the way you normally do it. But they carved all the fronts of these sandstones. And then they made this cool column. Now this is a faux column, it's not load bearing at all. The kind of the inner core is the main construction. This just added on. You can see how they did the base here and then they stacked all those sandstones on it. And then check this out. This is fantastic. It has a little arch there and a little miniature dome. So you can see how this wall, and it would have been on the other side with another massive arch. And then it would have had like a walkway here and then that minaret. Oh, it's cool. Now the minarets were not popular in India back in this day. That part of Islam kind of trickled out of the Middle East over the following centuries. So this was kind of a novelty back whenever it was built. Oh, it's fantastic here though. We haven't even got to the good stuff yet. We'll talk about a little bit about the tragedies up there at that tower when we get closer to it. So you have some of the pieces of the carved sandstone that came off that wall sitting out here, various pieces of it. And same as over there. All right, so we got us a little tomb right here. You can see that arch. And more of the bricks, and then they carved these right here to put some patterns in it. Now, I have no idea how tall this building was because there's no roof on it. So with it being Islam here, they would have buried all the rulers and everybody else. They would have been buried in the ground. The Hindus, they cremated them the same as like Buddhists. So this is a nice white marble like coffin. And then check out all the stonework here on the back wall also. It's kind of some interesting patterns that they did. And you can see down here, kind of like the faux archway, and then there's some Arabic writing, which I have no idea what that says. Same as here, all around. Yeah, this is beautiful. And the little cubbies up there that are kind of like that little onion domes. And then over here, this is white marble as opposed to the sandstone. And part of the wall. Oh, it's fantastic. And the arches. You can see that like lotus arch over there. You can see some more of the wall here. And what a cool look looking through that arch at the minaret. And you can see the little domes that they would have had along the wall here. I was just talking to a guy that's from India here that's Muslim, and he was talking a little bit about the writing and how important this is. And there's several other places nearby that they want to go and they want to see for like the Indo-Islam architecture, I think is what they call that, styling. So all the different tiers. That's closed off now. You can't go into it anymore. You used to be able to go up to that first platform, but there was like a power outage. I think it was like in the early 2000s, and like 40 or 46 children were killed in a stampede. And then earlier in like 1946, from way up there, I think a Czechoslovakian woman, she was like an actress, she fell from up there with her two Pomeranians and died. So they closed the upper reaches then, and then after that stampede, they closed the lower levels. So you can't go up there at all. And this over here would have probably been another arch. It's kind of interesting though how they used that rubble, and then they just did the faux fronts on it. And these would have been some important stones that would have been up at the top. And then we got another little wall over here. This part over here is what they're calling the Khalji's Madrasa. So you got the tomb and then the madrasa over here. And I think the madrasa was like the schools, like the Islamic school. And you can see they got some little rooms here. It's nice and cool in here. There's no styling on the walls, but they might have had some plaster with some writing or paintings or stuff like that. But the archway is in perfect shape. And then you can see the inner part of it. So they did it with more of that rubble. And then these here they constructed with the large bricks. And then there's a series of rooms. This one over here is quite large. On this one here, the back wall is open. So you can see those little arches, or the little columns. Yeah, this is cool. It has a nice little breezeway, so when you come through here, it has a natural breeze. On a day like today, that's nice because it's so scorching hot. And this is the outer. So they use more of a square and rectangle pieces here. And then there's the dome. And then another dome. And they would have had, all this here would have been carved also. You can see some of it. So that marble stone right there is carved, same as these. And then you see here how they carved into that sandstone. And that's all weathered off. You can see more of it here. And it startled me. I was standing here and that squirrel actually looked like a little chipmunk, came right down the wall right by my arm. So you can see the core of how this was built, more of the rubble look. So they're not the regular shaped bricks. And it's in kind of disrepair now. It's still pretty amazing. I mean, this is massive. So I don't know what would have been here. This might have been another one of the tombs. It's just down to the base now. You can see how the core of the building was constructed. So they did all the rubble, and then you can see here, this is an add-on here, how they did more of a regular face to dress it up. You can see the chipmunks found a little cubby hole right up there. He's doing something. Then around the madrasa, they had a walkway. And this would have probably been covered, keep you out of the sun. There's part of it over here, probably been restored a lot more. It's in fairly decent shape on the bottom. This is kind of interesting. You got a set of stairs that goes back in there that would have been able to go up to the top up there. So there'd have been a second story of this. It's just down, there's hardly any of it left, just a little bit of the tower right there. And more of the building over here. Yeah, those stones are just rubble. Yeah, so we're working our way. Almost time to go up there and check that out. We'll go over here and see these buildings right quick, and then we'll go into the center part. So over here is a mosque. It's fantastic. And over here is the Major Smith's cupola, or the Major Smith's Folly. And they had that originally up at the top. And then they took it down and then they reassembled it down here on the ground. So it's a nice look at this little building. You see all the styling right there in the marble and in the sandstone. They have the script for the Quran all there. They did it in the marble and in the sandstone. And then they did all these like little floral designs. And you can see the core of the building is the sandstone, and then they put those pieces on the outside. Yeah, and this is quite colossal also. You can see, oh, the top of the dome is way cool. Oh, this is beautiful. And then they capped the dome with a white marble. And all of this stonework. And the inside of the arches. Oh yeah, this is really nice. And you just feel that breeze come blasting through. When you're watching this at home, you can't appreciate how hot it is here and how nice this is with this little breeze coming through. So I'll give you a close-up look at all of that. So that was chiseled in by hand. I'm sure this was restored, but they tried to replicate what it would have looked like new. And then check out that little dome. Okay, so what this is right here, this is the tomb of Imam Zamin, and it was built in 1537. Now that was the early Mughal era, but the style of this construction was an earlier period, the Lodi style. It has all the little columns that support the roof, and it has the screens. And you can see how they have the carved little stones. Yeah, it's quite cool. They got the marble over here. And so they have the script right above the doors. Would have been in Arabic. And then here is his coffin. And this place over here, this was for people to come and pray. And then a few more of the coffins. Okay, so now we're into the inner courtyard. Check out the little walkway with all the stone columns. And this would have went all around and it would have been covered. It looks like they'd had a second story up there also. Now it's just a garden in here, and you can see a little bit more of the walkway. And then here is the minaret. Oh, it is fantastic. So the minaret, you can see they have the inscriptions in the stone right there. So the base of this, the diameter is 46 feet, and it's only 9 feet all the way up at the top. And it is fantastic. So the first part was constructed early on. It was completed the first section in 1210, and then the second, third, and fourth were added on later from 1211 to 1236. And it was damaged by lightning a couple different times. Oh, it is fantastic. And believe it or not, this is the tallest stone tower in India, but it's shorter than the Taj Mahal. Okay, you can see this courtyard here. And it would have had a couple of the old rulers' bodies inside of here. This would have all been covered. You can see what's left of the columns. And it would have had a second story up there. Oh, this is magnificent with the little domes. Yeah, this is a fantastic look at this. Just absolutely massive. Oh, it's kind of disappointing you can't go up there, but you know it'd be so jam-packed with people. You couldn't even move. So this right here, it's kind of hard to see. This is called the Iron Pillar. It's made out of iron, and it's from the 4th century, and it weighs 6,000 kilograms. But it hasn't rusted away. It's a scientific marvel. The technology for this wasn't advanced in the West for another 1,600 years. So one more look at this little courtyard here. You got the tomb, all those cool little columns, and then that massive tower. And this archway we looked at earlier, and over there that unfinished tower. So if you could imagine it being twice as tall as that first one, it would be unbelievable. Yeah, it's kind of cool that you don't even realize it, but the Taj Mahal is 5 feet taller than this tower. But the tower just is a, just a one thing sticking up in the air, while the Taj is more of a substantial structure. Okay, so let's make our way over to the Smith's cupola. And there's a sundial over here also, not sure where that's at. And here's the sundial. Has a little inscription here in Latin, the Umbra Permanente, which is the shadow passes, the light remains. And he did a lot of restoration here at this site. And let's go over and look at this. So what this is the Smith's Folly, or the cupola. Now, believe it or not, this right here, the British guy that was doing the restorations had that built up at the top there. So they built it up there, then they took it down and they reconstructed it over here in the corner. That's going to finish up our video over here in South Delhi. This whole site here is quite spectacular. There's 600 rupees charged to get in here, but it's well worth that. The tower, the whole temple complex, the mosques, all that stuff is fantastic. I would highly recommend it. This is comparable to the Red Fort. Both of them are worth your time. They're both UNESCO World Heritage Sites, so the condition that they're in is very, very good. I would highly recommend it for sure. I've enjoyed it. So if you enjoyed it, definitely smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, stick around, and you're notified when I make a new video. And if you know a little bit more, or if I misspoke, let me know in a comment down below. And until next time, from over here in India, remember, life is a journey. Until next time, enjoy.